Warrior, my friend, welcome to another important video on this channel. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for being a valuable member of this community. Honestly, your likes, your engagement, your comments, your shares, we're really building something here where we can really prove to people that they no longer have to manage and cope with their anxiety and their symptoms. They can become more than anxiety and transition into a brand new identity. So thank you so much for your engagement. Friends, in today's video, I was thinking to myself, Dennis, that's a massive topic, right? We're talking about the 10 rules for living an anxiety-free life. I mean, are you really that person to be able to create such content and share that with people? And the answer to that question was, I believe I am, because through all of these years, all of my studies, all of my engagement with other people, all of my workshops, all of my sessions, through all of those things, I've gathered important information that says, you know what? There's just some things that don't work for the majority of people, and there are things that do work for the majority of people when it comes to living an anxiety-free life. And so today I want to share those with you today, and let's also take into consideration where you are on this healing journey, okay? It's a ladder system, it really is, right? And many times we're looking at the next step on that ladder that we call healing, and we just can't seem to take that next step because we're not willing to do what it takes in order to get to the next step, or we're not willing to learn the lesson that we need to in this present step in order to get to the next step. So I want you to be brutally honest with yourself and say, hey, if I really want to understand how to begin healing my anxiety, all I have to do is look at my current results and recognize what kind of patterns and habits that I am running. Because so much of anxiety healing comes down to pattern recognition. So my friends, with that said, let's get into number one, okay? Number one rule for living an anxiety-free life. And this isn't number one, right? But it's one of the 10. Okay. Number one, if you can apply the right response in moments of anxiousness, it will no longer lead to anxiety. Woo! This is a lesson that I learned later down the road. Okay. And more often than not, most of us think that because we have a feeling or because we have a thought, that that feeling or that thought is true for that particular situation, when in fact it's not. Often that feeling and that emotional response coming from your body has everything to do with the way you've mirrored your own mother's or father's responses to that situation. Or you went through some kind of a traumatic event that overwhelmed you early on in life, and here you are having that same threat perception. So, what's important to understand is that you have the power. You have the power and the capability to respond to anything going on in your external environment or in your internal environment differently. You have that power. Now, I don't like to tell people how to respond because every response is different, okay? Based on the situation, based on where you are in your healing journey. But do understand that you can verbally respond, you can mentally respond, you can behaviorally respond, you can even imaginatively respond to a situation that normally causes you anxiousness, therefore anxiety, differently. Okay? And the more of these responses rather than reactions that you have, the more wins you're going to have. And the more wins you have, the closer you get to the next step on that ladder and a brand new identity. Okay? Number two, find some kind of productive outlet for your suppressed feelings, especially anger. Now, This is really, really key because so much of anxiety comes down to anger. Why am I living this way? Why isn't that guy or that girl dealing with this, right? Why did my parents treat me that way? Why couldn't they see things the way that I'm currently seeing things? Why is the world always against me? Why am I stuck where I am? There's so much pent-up anger, not only in the mind, but in the body of anxiety sufferers. And it's very important that you find a productive outlet for that anger, okay? A productive outlet for that anger. Now, one of my suggestions, and this is a very, very powerful way of getting to the root causes of the anxiety and the anger, is chair coaching. If you follow this video right here, you're going to be led to that technique, chair coaching or chair therapy. And that is a very, very powerful outlet for your anger, okay? And not only your anger, your fear, your anxiety, your sadness, chair coaching does a lot of good. And it gets to the root of why we are struggling the way we're struggling today. Number 3, I like this one. Join an active anxiety support forum or group that focuses on progress and solutions. Leave every anxiety support forum or group that perpetuates victimhood. So you got to see yourself and your interactions on the forums and the group from the outside, not from the inside. Because if you see it from the inside, you're going to go, I'm making friends, people understand me, I'm managing my anxiety symptoms, and that will be the standard, right, for your whole life. But you can go beyond that. Understand that you can go beyond that. So this is something that worked very, very well for me. I looked at all of the forums and groups that I was a part of, and I said, which ones actually helped me to become someone different, right? And which ones are perpetuating my victimhood, causing me to rely on that forum, causing me to rely on those people there to get me out of a sticky situation, right? So be honest with yourself. You really got to be honest with yourself. And no matter what kind of relationships you've built, no matter what kind of safety zone you feel within those forums and groups, understand that it could be backfiring, okay? They very well could be backfiring. Number 4, find as many opportunities throughout the day to act as if you've already healed yourself. Too many people out there are saying, when when X happens, then I'll be able to heal my anxiety, then I'll feel differently, right? But here's what changed my life. The understanding that the feeling must come first in order for the solution to arise. So you have to place yourself into a place of feeling that level of emotional intensity already, before the clarity and the epiphanies can come to you, okay? Before you can actually look at yourself and go, I'm healed of an anxiety disorder. So it's about creating the feelings first. When you wake up in the morning, are you going, my God, I am so lucky. I'm so grateful to have one more opportunity to take a massive step forward in my healing. Thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you, world. Thank you, body. Thank you, mind. I love you so much. And now you're creating the feelings that are in line with who you want to become. Because, my friends, it's like a plane flying at 30,000 feet, right? That plane, if it flies below those numbers, okay, it will affect the speed of the plane. It will affect, the mileage. It will affect the gas consumption and so on and so forth. So we can't fly too high. We can't fly too low. We have to first generate the feelings of already being healed in order for us to actually be flying in that space to get the answers that we need in order to feel like we've healed an anxiety disorder. Very, very important. Ooh, number 5, and I shared this with you guys on Instagram at The Anxiety Guy. Come on over and follow. And you had a lot to say about this one, right? You were like, whoa, Dennis, that speaks to me, right? Are you ready? Number 5, replace doership with non-doership, right? Let me explain. Anxiety sufferers, at least the majority of them, are doers. They're doers. They wake up in the morning and they say, what book do I have to read? What podcast do I have to listen to? What YouTube video must I watch? Right? Who must I have sessions with? What must I do for my anxiety? Is sound healing better? Is childhood trauma reframing better? Is this better? NLP, EFT, LMNOP? Right? So, anxiety sufferers, the majority of them are doers. But the truth is this, okay? In order to heal anxiety and become a new identity, you have to move from a place of doership to non-doership. And what I mean by that is you begin to do those things less and in a different manner. You approach the doing part differently because there's more healing that's done when you're not doing than when you are doing. Understand that, right? Because I'll do reframing processes with people going through my programs, right? And in the moment, yes, they'll have a massive epiphany. They'll take some big steps forward. But it's later on where they go, my God, because of what I did, I learned this about myself. And I finally created this goal. And I'm finally moving towards this. All of this clarity and epiphany comes to them while they balance this idea that I'm presenting to you. So if you find yourself in doership all the time, more information, faster, harder, do it, and you feel like you're forcing your anxiety healing, you got to take a few steps back and recognize that this is actually happening, okay? The more forcing you do, the more it's going to backfire. So it's about non-doership. And what I mean by non-doership is you approach the doing differently, okay? And you bring it down like 10 levels. You don't have to do so much to heal yourself. Understand that, okay? Definitely not at the level that so many people are engaged in today. Number 6, allow mistakes. Okay, you are allowed to make mistakes. In fact, as you're going through the day, you should practice making mistakes. Okay, because brushing my teeth with the opposite hand felt like a mistake. My brain was going, what are you doing? Right? Why are you doing that? You're so much better at brushing your teeth with the right hand. Why are you brushing your teeth with the left hand? Right? Brain didn't understand it. Neither did the body. Right? So, of course, with that came these defense mechanisms like, ideas like, oh, this is going to take too long and I'm not going to get every single tooth, right? If I do brush it this way, I'm going to end up in the dentist. And that's all coming from my inner child, right? Trying to protect me from doing something differently, right? But that's just one example. Another example is walking backwards in your house. Just walking backwards in your house, your brain's going to go, what are you doing? Why would you walk backwards when you can walk forwards? Because all your life you've walked forwards, and trust me, it's fine, right? But you are presenting new ideas. You are presenting new perceptions. You are presenting new beliefs about yourself. So it's important that you allow mistakes and you practice these mistakes, okay, in terms of the interpretation coming from your inner child. Practice these mistakes and open yourself up to change, because more often than not, healing anxiety comes down to the fear of change and what it's going to bring with it, rather than, the change work itself, right? We are all capable of change, but more often than not, we are afraid of that change because we don't know what's about to show up in the unknown in all aspects of life. Number 7, understand that at the deepest levels of anxiety is the manifestation of wrongful data processing, mainly coming from the past. My friends, you know what you're dealing with right now? You're dealing with wrongful data processing that's coming from the environment. Okay, so when you were young, mainly between those early years of conception to the age of 5, you were aware of the data, okay, coming through your senses based on what's taking place in the external world, right? So you took in that data and you interpreted that data as so. And more often than not, this system within us is hyper-vigilant in terms of keeping us in a negative place, because negativity spurs on action and reaction, okay, which through evolution has kept us alive to some extent, right? And positivity doesn't really spur on any kind of action or reaction, and it's more of a content and a different place to be. So your system is more invested in seeing things as threatening than it is in terms of seeing things as safe. So what we're dealing with here more than anything is wrongful data processing based on those golden years of conception to the age of 5. And we are living out those perceptions now, right? Unconsciously and consciously. So when you see it from this perspective, you can go, well, what happened to me, but it wasn't the environment, it wasn't the people, right, that caused me to experience anxiety today in turn, right? Because more often than not, in the present, we're living based on the interpretations of the past, right? But more so, the way I collected that data, okay, the way I perceived the experience. So I can literally, right now in this moment, perceive that experience differently and begin acting on it on a daily basis to show my body that I am in a safe place. Earth is safe. This life is safe, right? More than anything, what we're doing each and every day is showing our inner childs that environment, people, the world is safe and it's no longer threatening. Number 8, spend more time with your wins. When you have a win, more often than not, we go, oh, I had a win, and that's good. But you know what? I have to stand on guard again. I can't spend too much time on this win that I just had, because I need to make sure that I'm in a place where I understand who I am. I'm tapping back to the identity that I am most familiar with, called anxiety. Okay? So we don't spend enough time with our wins. Okay, you go into a cafe, you close your eyes, and you go through a meditative state for about 1 minute. Everybody around you thinks you're crazy, but no longer does that matter. You don't care about people's perceptions over you because you have no control over them. Okay, so you're doing what's best for you in that moment to create safety in your body. And you're proud of yourself when you leave the cafe. Celebrate that win. I did something fantastic for myself. I took a big step forward. You got to celebrate those wins. And you celebrate them by spending more time with the feelings that come with the wins, right? I've got a feeling of being emotionally neutral. I've got a feeling of positivity. I've got a feeling of this rush of positive adrenaline that I'm feeling. Spend time with it. Don't just revert back to the negative and the pessimistic so quickly, because if you do that, then your wins won't mean anything. Another thing you can do is journal your wins, right? A lot of people ask me how to journal. Just journal all your wins, your verbal wins and the way you express things. Maybe you reframed a past experience, right? You know, spend time with those wins. Spend time with those feelings, okay? Because this will contribute to your healing so much. Number 9. Don't overdo your inner work. We kind of touched on this. And don't overconsume too much information related to anxiety, okay? Stop looking for the next anxiety coach, mentor, therapist, right? I mean, you're already an expert at anxiety. If somebody came to you with a similar problem to yours, you would have the best advice for them. You would be able to tell them exactly the direction they need to go. You would be able to coach them brilliantly. But when it comes to yourself, there's a fear and there's a block there. So it's important that, again, you don't overconsume information based around anxiety, okay? And number 10, Listen to your fears in a different voice tone than your own. Your parents or other authority figures, and you can use cartoon characters. You've got a fearful idea that shows up, a fearful perception that normally takes you into anxiety. What if it sounds like Goofy? When you close your eyes and imagine that you're face to face with Goofy, and Goofy's going, right? He's got that voice tone, and he's portraying the same idea through his voice tone, and you're looking at Goofy and you're going, oh God, I can't take you seriously. No longer are you a victim of your parents' conditioning over you, okay? Or this programming that started when you were a child and that has progressed up to this point, okay? So listen to those same fearful ideas through the voice tone of Goofy, Minnie Mouse, Mickey Mouse, and you're going to find that your reaction is different. This is good. My friends, right now in your life, you're flying. You're like a bird. And you're flying, but you're only flapping one wing, okay? And in that one wing, you're doing a lot of things right. But the other wing is not flapping. Therefore, you keep hitting the ground over and over again. The other wing has everything to do with your ability to leave things alone and have faith that your healing is on the way. Okay, so it's your ability to understand that you don't have to do all the work yourself. Okay, and when you feel like you're not doing enough for yourself, you're in fact allowing a different intelligence, and the intelligence from the outside, known as your body, and the intelligence on the outside, known as source energy. You're allowing that intelligence to help you to heal, and that's the missing component. You don't have to do all of this by yourself. And once you have the faith that you can leave things alone, you will start to trust in that different intelligence, and you will be flapping both wings as a beautiful bird flying around in as their new identity. Comment below. Tell me what the greatest epiphany was that you got from this video. What's the greatest lesson that you're taking away from this? And if you get the chance, please go ahead and share this video with a group or a forum in need, my friends. Let's build this community and let's help more people understand that they can become more than anxiety. I love you from the bottom of my heart. Keep going. You're getting there. Bye-bye.